right, welcome to the Tom's Project Computers Rant, episode number 1. So I'm not really going to focus on anything specific today. I'm just going to kind of keep it flowing. I know like how I'm going to have to edit the shit out of this in our door. Anyway, where do I start? You know what, let's start with music consumption and music streaming. So I haven't really ever been the biggest fan of music streaming. I mean, it's convenient as hell. All hell, don't get me wrong. Like, I had a Spotify account for a couple years, and I'll still listen to music on YouTube, but I think the best way to go about doing it is getting yourself a CD collection. And that's because it's always going to be there with you, and you can do so much with it. So, there are going to be people that sell the 7 Cs. I wouldn't recommend that. I think part of the experience of a lot of albums is actually getting the physical piece of like artwork in general. I've had several albums that I've bought to where like years before I would just be streaming it off of YouTube, seeing the album artwork, but something is like super special when you see it like the album size, like the, I think 4 or whatever inches by 4 or whatever inches square the artwork is, because that's how it's intended to be seen. That's how people know the album. I think a little bit gets lost when you're just looking at it on a screen. And that's not even like the super extravagant crap. I saw a video, oh god, it's probably like 5-6 years ago, talking about some like Yes album on like vinyl where, oh my god, it's big and grand and a big work of art, which yes it is, but even things that aren't as crazy and as detailed, they just look better in that size they were meant to be seen. And like you can rip your CDs and WAV files or MP3s or FLACs. You can take them with you. Now, I mean, yeah, no shit. Like that's what people have been doing for years and years with the MP3 players. But I don't know of anyone besides me in my life that does that. At the moment, I'm currently rocking a flip phone, but it can play all the .wav files I have, which I happen to have on an SD card. I just swapped it from my smartphone to my flip phone when I switched to it, and it literally just works. I have my whole entire music collection with me, and it can work offline anytime I want it to. And I do want to mention something here. I think Gen Z vinyl enthusiasts are a bunch of stupid fucking hipsters. As a Gen Z CD enthusiast, there's some album. I'm not even gonna go and really say that, because in the studio they weren't listening to their fucking mix downs on a fucking vinyl. They were listening to the tape machine. The tape machines were trying to be as clear as possible. People fetishize analog gear, and it's fucking crazy. Vinyl shit, like, I'm not super a fan of that. Now, there's some great music on vinyl, but let me tell you, as long as the remasters don't suck, some of it sounds better on, CD. Now, granted, mastering engineers nowadays like to be super heavy-handed, or there are even some people that already amped guitars in the same studio where the album was recorded, in a self-indulgent effort to like be a part of the band's history, even though they weren't born when the band was around. If you know, you know. I think that's stupid. Not a big fan of vinyl. And let me tell you, when I went to Target a couple weeks ago and saw they had these fucking vinyls that were the size of like a CD, I was like dumbfounded. I'm still dumbfounded at the fucking thought of that. Like, I guarantee you that sounds like shit. And it, half of it was legacy artists, half of it was new artists. But like listening to the new shit on vinyl, like I get if you want to support the artist, and I get if you want like a display piece to have, but actually listening to like a modern album on vinyl is stupid in my opinion, because it was going to be made all digitally with, few exceptions here and there, but just use digital. It's like, it's pure, it's clean, and I know I'm going to get shit for saying that. All the quote unquote warm analog gear was trying to be nice and pure. They wasn't trying to be quote unquote warm back in the day. Marketing directors are just really good at tricking people. I think that's enough harping on the music industry and hipsters for now. I'll circle back to something I was saying earlier about my flip phone. Now that fucking thing, I'm rocking a TCL Flip 3. And I have a kind of a love-hate relationship with it because I think the hardware is nice. I have a USB-C port, I have a removable battery, I have a headphone jack, I have an SD card slot. Those 4 things are my ideal specs on a phone. But the software stack is so fucking shitty. The music player on there, it's okay, it works. Sometimes it lags out. I'm not entirely convinced it can handle high sample rate audio. I know 44.1 kilohertz audio works fine, but I've seen songs I purchased from Bandcamp that are like 96 kilohertz, and it sometimes doesn't play those as well. And just like the structure of the music player, you can't go folder by folder like you can on VLC with Android. It goes by like the artists, but then if you rip everything from CD and didn't put the metadata in right, then it's all an unknown artist. And then you just kind of have to shuffle everything that you have, which is fine because it makes it so you're listening to more shit than you normally listen to. It's more reminiscent of the radio. But then I also feel like this shuffling algorithm, there are times where there are songs that like every time I listen to it, particular songs pop up and it's like, damn, there's payola on my phone. Oh wait, it's not the radio. But it's as if there were payola there. Not that there is, but you know what I'm saying. The other thing that really kind of killed me with it was the ads baked into the phone. It's like, what the fuck, am I using Windows right now? But then that's a double-edged sword because then that forces me to use it as a phone instead of a computer. Because if you have your data turned off and don't connect to Wi-Fi, then you don't get ads. Okay, it's a trade-off. And this is one of those, like, would you press the buttons type of thing of, like, you get a dumb phone, but anytime you try to use it as a smartphone, it fucking tortures your cock from doing that. And probably the most surprising thing is how decent the camera is. So for video, yeah, the camera's gonna look like absolute dog shit. But for pictures, it's pretty serviceable. Not that this is a review of this particular phone, but I just thought I wanted to mention that. What else to talk about? Oh, off-grid self-reliance shit. Because let me tell you, I love that. So electricity prices are rising because of reasons, data centers, what? But, you know, how do you combat that? You give a big fuck you to the powers that be and make your own goddamn electricity. So what I've been doing basically the entire summer is I just have a little Jackery 300D. Now, I know a couple other brands make similar ones. The Jackery is the one I go with. I'm presuming they're all pretty much the same because I've looked at the specs. They all look comparable. It's a little battery. It's maybe a quarter the size of a lunchbox. It's pretty convenient. And there are no AC outputs on there. But the amount of shit that is DC powered, you just don't realize it. So right now, I put my main computer just in storage for a little bit, and I'm using a Raspberry Pi 5. That's what this episode is being recorded and edited on, plugged directly into the Jackery. And then I have a monitor that has a 12-volt barrel input, and so using the USB-C PD trigger board, power delivery trigger board, I can tell it, okay, go to 12 volts, and then boom, I plug that in the barrel jack and it works. And then I have a network switch as well. Let's see, what is this? A Netgear ProSafe, a gigabit switch. Same deal. I have a barrel jack soldered onto USB-C PD trigger board. Fuck, that's a mouthful. And the other end just goes into the switch and it works. I've also been able to do like TV antenna signal boosters. I have this RCA one that had like AC adapter on there. I just snipped it off, soldered it to one of those boards, and it works as you would expect. You can even go as far as like taking a laptop that doesn't support USB-C, and if it charges with the voltage that it supports, you can just kind of cannibalize a charger and use that to charge your shit. I've done that with some old HP laptops, and it works as you'd expect it to work, as you'd hope it to work. And that's caused me to just have this reliable source of power, because I'll power it with this 100-watt solar panel I got from Harbor Freight, the little foldable one. And like that does the trick even on like a cloudy day. For the amount of power I use, it can kind of charge it up from like maybe 75%, which if I use it super heavy, I can get it down to like the 60s in its percentage, but most of the time, like 80 to 90%, I still have left. 75 is if I, went on a gaming binge or something. But this shit is all like self-reliant. Like if the power went out right now in my town, I would still be trucking along as if nothing happened. I can also power some 12-volt lights. You can buy these automotive lights. They're going to be 12 volts, and they can light up a room very well because LEDs are insanely good fucking pieces of technology. And again, that's not really to plug that Jack 3 battery. Specifically, there are comparable ones. I have a Harbor Freight Predator battery as well, which is slightly bigger. It is more expensive. It has an AC inverter. So if like your power goes out, you can still kind of keep your fridge powered. Or what I really love doing with it is using a rice cooker, because you can cook more than just rice in a rice cooker. You can boil shit. You can cook bacon. You can cook kielbasa sausage. You can do basically anything with the stove because it's heat. It just gets hot. You can cook whatever you want to cook with it. Boy, oh boy, for a little rant that's supposed to be about computers, I'm talking about a lot of other shit. But that's just kind of like an introductory episode to everything, kind of guide you into my thought process for all this weird shit, all my fucking scatterbrain, all that glorious weird shit going on, But I think I'll wrap it up about here, maybe keep it under 15 minutes, just quick little bites that people can listen to, or probably not, because I don't think I'd be able to stand listening to the fucking shit I'm saying, but I sure as fuck think it.